Pau Hana Years, a new day for older Americans, a time for living. Your host, Bob Barker.
Hi, and welcome to the program for and by the senior citizens of Hawaii. Today on Pau Hana Years, we're going to discuss the use of free bus passes which senior citizens have or can get here. The potential for a new way of life for pass holders or anyone else is explained and shown in a new book by Milly Singletary, See Oahu via the Bus. Milly, what prompted you to write this book?
Well, I came here without a car, and I started using the bus, and they're so wonderful that I just kept trying to learn more and more about them.
Mm-hmm.
I had written a previous book, which I described the bus a little bit, but it was not a good job, so I was getting ready for the 77 edition of that book, and I kept getting research, and ended up with so many interesting things and had such a good time that I decided to put this special book out to help the people.
Book on the bus itself. Where are you from?
Canoga Park, California.
Oh, California. When did you come here?
February of this year.
Oh, just of this year?
Yes.
Had you been here before?
Yes, many times. For about 7 or 8 years, I've been coming about twice a year.
Oh, I see. Well, now, have you had a lot of bus experience with buses elsewhere?
No, except I had to go back on business a couple of months ago. I had to go back to California on business, and the first thing I did, I got on a bus.
Oh, through your use of buses here? Are you tied in with a bus company
No,
here?
no,
Anyway?
definitely not. No.
Because it's a great promotion for the buses.
Well, the buses, I think, do a fantastic job for the people. I really, sincerely believe there's no place in the world where you can go as far for a quarter as you can in Oahu.
Now, you mentioned research. What all did you have to do in the way of research?
Well, I did many things. First of all, I ride the bus. Sometimes I ride 5, 6 buses a day.
You do?
My husband leaves for work at 5 o'clock in the morning, and but I like the one around the island. But every time I get on a bus, I find the bus driver, bless his heart, they're the same questions over and over and over. In particular, from the Ala Moana Center, does this bus go to the Arizona Memorial?
Oh.
And the one around the island, the number 52, I think it's the most misunderstood bus there is, but it's beautiful. You really can go the whole way around the island for a quarter. And you go through the sugarcane fields if you take the inland route, the Wahiawa bus. And then you come back by the coast or vice versa. But practically all of the papers and other media say, just take a number 52, but that's not enough. And that's one of the things this book does. It tells you how to read the destination signs. There's much more than just getting on a 52. If you want to go inland, you take a 52 Wahiawa, Kaneohe. If you want to go via the coastline, you take a 52 Kaneohe, Wahiawa.
Oh, I see.
But if you just take a 52 Kaneohe, that's all the further you're going to get. You'll never get around the island.
Oh,
And of course, the Polynesian Culture Center is very popular. So if you want to go to Polynesian Culture Center, if you get on a 52 Wahiawa or Wahiawa Heights, you just never get there.
Well, in your research, you didn't just get on the buses and start making notes, did you? What did you do?
I did a combination of a lot of things. Number one, I went to the bus company and I got every schedule they have.
I see.
They have excellent material. And for anybody that lives here, that can use the bus to go to work, I think they should have a copy of that schedule. But those schedules don't tell you all the interesting things along the way. They don't show you anything. But I designed several maps, which my husband did. For example, here in the center spread, if you happen to live up in Paloa Valley, number 9, just says it real plain there. Anybody that wants to go up there and just for the ride or something, just get on number 9, any place. It's the same way with the Civic Center. There's a special map that describes everything that's there. So if you're on the bus, you just look at the book, and it tells you you're passing Washington Place or the state capitol, because everybody's always saying, what's that, what's that, what's that?
Yes.
So I started with that way. Then I would sit around on, on the bus stops, like down on Hotel Street, and I would take notes, a number 1 so-and-so, a number 1 so-and-so, with all these different names after the number 1 or after the number 2. And then I started wondering, well, now, where does that go? I mean, a number 2, but number 2s or number 4s go different places at different times. And it's those words after the number that are very important. It's like everyone says, take a number 8, you know, to get to Waikiki. Well, that's true. I mean, and they run very, very often from Malawana Center, between 3 and 5 minutes. I went out to the airport last week to meet somebody. And there was an elderly gentleman on the bus, and he said, are you really going to Waikiki? And the bus driver says, no, man, I'm going to the airport. And he said, what do you mean? They told me to take a number 8, and this is a number 8.
Oh, yes.
But you see, it says 8 airport. So the word after the number is very, very important, and that's one of the things I wanted to get across to the public. One thing that's been very gratifying to me is that I find the Kama'ainas are using it as much as the tourists.
Is that so?
Yes.
Well, you came here in February, so you wrote this in a hurry, didn't you?
The one little incident I had, I met a little native gal at a bus stop right across from my apartment building. She asked me if this particular number, which is a 3, went downtown. She was taking dancing lessons. And I said yes, and she asked me a couple other questions. She's real cute. She's a nurse here at Kaiser. And she said it was the first time she'd ever been in the bus, but last week when she took her dancing lesson, she had to pay $2.50 to park her car.
Oh.
And so I said, oh, well, I'm writing a book. At that time, the book wasn't out yet. I was still working on it. I said, oh, you'll have to get my book when it comes out. And she said, what do you mean? I've lived here for 10 years and I've never even been on a bus, and you've been here for 2 months and you've written a book on it.
Well, now you're not in your book. You're not talking about bus travel as something necessary altogether, but as a preferred way to travel.
Yes. Well, it's simply beautiful. For example, out at I
can't think of the place you were to.
Falls Park, Waimea.
Oh yes.
Yeah, Waimea Beach Park. We don't have a car. I have no desire for one right now. But when we want one, we just rent one. So we went for a picnic out at Waimea Beach Park. And golly, we drove around that parking lot, I'd say, for 20 minutes, trying to find a parking place.
Oh, yes.
Whereas the bus stops right in front of the place. I'll never bother to go there by car again. The bus stops there for a quarter. You just get off the bus and walk across the street. I mean, it's just fantastic.
When was your book actually published then? When did it come out?
It came out in July.
July?
No, I'm sorry, August.
August.
It's been out about 6 weeks, 6, 7 weeks.
Well, you have information then here, far more information than is included in the bus schedules you can get for the bus company.
Oh, definitely. No question about it. See, I have all the points of interest. There's many different ways to use the book. I mean, there's an alphabetical way, like if you just want to get to, say, the mission houses or to the Academy of Arts, you can look it up alphabetical. But then also on the maps, each map, and there are 5 of them in the book, but they also have the A, B, C, etc. So if you're driving along or riding along on the bus, you just can look down here and there's Aloha Tower, there's Sea Flight, there's the Oceana.
Points out the points of interest for you as you ride the bus.
Yeah. So you can use it that way for a visual reference, or you can use it alphabetical. Another section in the book which I think is interesting, probably because I love to eat and I'm supposed to be a gourmet cook, but there's gourmet dining by bus. And I invite the Kama'ainas to get a party together. Get your friend from Pearl City and your other friend from Hawaii Kai and all meet at the Outrigger and have lunch. I mean, why bother with parking? Even if they have the valet parking, you have to tip the guy 75 cents or $1. So ride the bus, it's beautiful.
Well, I think many people hesitate to ride the bus because, as you said, the number 4 for instance, might not go to the same place every time.
That's right. But don't forget what I said, read the words after the number. And that's another thing I've tried to do in the book, is to include those on the maps. Like
are the names after the number the destination,
Yes.
the final stopping place of the bus? Is that what they are?
Right. For example, a number 5 is a wonderful bus to take to Waikiki. Mostly because people don't know it goes to Waikiki, even though it says it, right on the thing. But they're waiting for a number 8, time after time. In fact, some of the real nice bus drivers even say to the people we pull up in front, like right down, like say in front of the Ilikai, if there's a number 5. I have never been on a number 5 that went to Waikiki that was filled up. I've never had to stand because people are so used to this number 8. Another thing that I've tried to accomplish in the book, it takes some research, and when you look at the book, you know, at first it might be confusing, but if you just have one question and just look for that answer, then you'll find it in the book. But for example, you know, the trip to the Arizona Memorial is one of the most popular ones for tourists that there is. And that's a typical question. I mean, you can take a 50 or a 51 or a 52 wahiwai, etc. But you can't take a 52 Kaneohe. I mean, it just won't get you the Arizona Memorial. It'll get you there about 4 hours later. But everything for tourists is designed from Waikiki. I hope to help the tourist where they don't have to go back to Waikiki the next time they want to go someplace. For example, when you're coming back from the memorial, all you have to do is get off at Kalihi Street and take a number 7, and you'll be at the Bishop Museum in about 5 minutes.
Oh, I see.
Whereas they go back to their hotel and then look up something and then go back out to the Bishop Museum, it'll take them another hour. So there's maps all through the book that just show, if I'm here, for example, Kapiolani Park, which is, you know, again, one of the most popular places, there's about 7 buses that go there. So
Many people get so frustrated waiting for buses.
if people are going to be frustrated, they're going to be frustrated. I mean, don't blame it on the bus. But again, as I mentioned in the book, if you just really, there are so many beautiful things in the world, and I believe very much in meditation, and it's a perfect time to just tune in and just thank God for all the beautiful things and the people, and to look at the people and the flowers and the new things that are coming out. And I'm also very much for to-do lists or goal sheets. And that's a perfect time to just take that out of your purse or your wallet or something and let's see, now what is it I have to do today, and check that one off. Or it might be little things. It might be a time to remind you to send Joe a birthday card. Or there's so many active things that you can turn your mind to instead of just being frustrated.
Carry a pocketbook with you, a pocketbook
to read.
To read. Good time for that.
Yeah, making notes.
Now they have, I think it's rather recently, designated special seats on the bus for the elderly and the handicapped.
Beautiful. There's either 2 or 4 seats in practically all the buses, and they have a little label on them, a white label with a black insignia on it. And I think that's a beautiful gesture of the bus company. I mean,
because many of the older people don't like to walk the length of the bus while it's starting up and stopping and so forth, so I guess it makes it very handy.
And for handicapped people, it's easy.
How do you regard the bus drivers?
They're human people just like all of us. Some of them are absolutely hilarious. I mean, that's one thing I'm going to check with the bus company sometime. I'd love to take a tape recorder along. There's one particular driver that goes around the island that I swear he should be on one of the comedy shows. I mean, he gets everybody so friendly and going and makes everybody so happy and jokes and say, hey, here's a good fishing spot. If you want to get off, anybody can get off the bus.
Well, and he acts more like a tour bus driver then, doesn't he?
Yeah. It's a wonderful sense of humor.
But I suppose some of them get a little irritated because they get the same questions or the same problems with the public.
I've often said I don't understand how the poor guys do it time after time, and I just think they do a fantastic job. In particular, and you should just check it out sometime, I'll bet a bus driver is asked, does this go to the Arizona Memorial 15 times if he's there that long. Whereas the bus company has a big poster right there, take a number 50, 51, 52, and then it spells out which ones. It's posted right there on the Ala Moana.
Your maps showing the routes, how many different, do you cover the whole island with the maps then?
Yes, there's one map that goes around the island. That one's in center Honolulu.
Central Honolulu.
And then that one goes around the island.
Oh, yes.
But in particular, there again, when I have a map of around the island, I show you where the buses go.
Yes.
See, it shows the 51 goes to Makaha. It shows the 52s and the 56 and the 57. They've just recently put on one, it's excellent. It says Hawaii Kai on it. It's a 57, it says Hawaii Kai. And then it'll have a card, Sea Life Park. That one also goes to Kailua. But that one goes through Waikiki. So, I mean, if you see a 57 Hawaii Kai, you can just go right through Waikiki, same as the number 8.
The points of interest, as you said, are listed alphabetically, and you not only have the points of interest, but you also tell something about each point of interest.
Yes, it tells the hours they're open, and if there's an admission charge, I tell you how much. I really do think it's a very, very complete book. Many times the papers will say admission, you know, but they don't say how much. So I do give a little bit. I keep it brief because I want to keep it small that people can stick it in their pocket, or. But it also, again, it's a double check there. It says number 52, number 3, and number 9.
Yes.
All that sort of thing. Again, it's tells you which bus goes there.
Now, how did you get into the section here, gourmet dining by bus? What prompted you to have that section in there?
Well, like I say, I just happen to love to eat, and I'm also supposed to be a gourmet cook.
Oh, you
I just
are?
love it.
Oh,
Yeah. Yes, I've done articles on
Well,
food.
now, have you gone to all these places to eat that
Oh,
you
that
have listed in here?
50 times more. Yes, yes.
Oh, really?
Many more. There's several of my very favorites that aren't included in there, really. For example, one of them is, like, say, the Crouching Lion. Well, it's just so easy to get. I mean, for a quarter, and 45 minutes later, there you are, out in the country overlooking the ocean, and they make a delicious hamburger. Get on the bus and come home.
Are these listed, the gourmet places or eating places that you have listed in here necessarily your stamp of approval because you've listed them?
No. In the first place, and in my other book, I just make no comments. This is fantastic because I think all the restaurants are, number one, they're a personal preference. One person will just love one place and the other one will think it's terrible.
Yes.
Secondly, they change. You never can tell what's going to be good 6 months from now. So for atmosphere, they're all wonderful, and in that particular case, the food is terrific. But, I mean, I just let people do their own judging when they think they're...
Now, on the back of the book, you have what you call a regular calendar of events, and you give the time of day and the day of the week, and then listing all the various things that people can see, either free or where there's a small charge.
Right. And there's a lot of things that the people don't know. The free papers that Honolulu has, I think, are simply wonderful. They really do a good job. I mean, and I read them all the time, but I just condense this. For example, bridge. I happen to love to play bridge. Well, it took me months to find where you could play bridge. I mean, there just doesn't seem to be any, like, party bridge clubs.
Oh, I see.
So I finally found that they do play duplicate bridge here at the hotel. And I never can pronounce it, but it's on there. But then, like at the Ala Moana, it does a terrific public relations by having their quilting lessons and their lei making and teaching the hula. And it gives that. The Ilikai has free hula lessons. The Sheraton, Waikiki, and the beautiful Hana room. And like the tour of the mission houses, and the tour of Chinatown, and the feeding the carp at the pagoda. I mean, it's just right there and tells
all
the
these
times.
different events. It's a different time of day.
You don't have to look through 25 pages.
Yes.
It's just there.
Very, very good.
And then I think it has an excellent map. That was courtesy of the Hawaiian Visitors Bureau, but that map that shows 100 hotels, a map of Waikiki.
Oh, yes.
Well, that's wonderful, both for visitors
Hotel
and
and
for
street guide, the Waikiki Street and Hotel Guide.
There's 100 of them there, so if you ever want to find a hotel, it's just there.
So you suggest using the buses not just to get from one place to another, but for touring too, then?
Like a number 5. That's beautiful. Just simply beautiful. When you want the rain about 5 o'clock in the evening, you just hop on a number 5 and ride up Paradise Park and turn around, come back down. I mean, it's just simply beautiful.
What is your favorite run on the bus routes?
Well, that number 15 is sort of scary.
Where does the 15 go?
Makiki Heights and Pacific Heights. I
Oh,
mean, it's beautiful, but wow.
The winding, climbing streets.
It's really beautiful. But I was on, well, no, that would be negative. This one bus just didn't want to get started from the one bus stop. But anyway, I really like.
Now, in addition to the bus book, you've also written this one, Hawaii Hotels, Restaurants, and Fun. Did you have a similar reason for writing this book?
Well, that one came first.
This one was the first book. Mm-hmm.
I have read everything that's been written on Hawaii, and what I did was I condensed things. In other words, there's charts in there that has all the hotels listed and it tells how many rooms and whether or not they're air-conditioned, and it gives their price range, whether or not they have a restaurant, whether they have cocktails. Same way with restaurants. I mean, it tells what type of food and their hours, and it has the zip code in it. It has telephone prefixes. Some people never even think, well, what's a telephone prefix? It doesn't mean anything. But the telephone prefix gives you a lot of clues.
Yes, as to where
the location
calls.
it is. And if you're answering an ad in the paper and it has a 272 on prefix or something, you know it's way out in the Tules someplace. But it has maps of all the islands. It covers all the islands. It's not just Oahu. But in particular, the thing that caused quite a bit of comment is this bicentennial luau. There's also instructions in the book on how to do a luau. I put on luau for charity. It's 75 cents a piece. Made a tremendous amount of money for my church back
Was that so?
And it's all in here. It tells you how to do the hula.
How to do the hula?
Yeah.
Have you learned to do the hula yet?
No, I'm not good at it. I can't get those beautiful hand motions. I'm going to
Well,
keep trying.
is this book then, this Hotels, Restaurants, and Fun book, is that the result of your travels? Have you done a lot of traveling in your life?
Yes.
Is this the result of travels because you could have used a book like this other places?
Right. I've been in practically all the countries. I mean, I've been all through Europe and Japan and Hong Kong, Singapore, Ceylon.
But you know, I just noticed this book is by Milly Kingston,
Yeah.
not Milly Singletary.
That's right. I just changed that. Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve, you got married? You did, Christmas Eve.
Right.
So you were Milly Kingston when you wrote this one. When did this come out?
That came out about June of 75.
And then you were Milly Singletary
Right.
after you wrote this one. These books are available now where, Milly?
Well, they're in practically all of the hotel gift shops. They're available in Holiday Mart. Safeway just called me on Monday and told I don't do anything with the distribution. It's handled by Hawaiian Magazine distributors.
Oh, I see.
So if they're not at your favorite hotel, just ask for them, and I'm sure they'd be happy to put them out. We haven't had time to hit all the spots yet, but I've seen it, you know, in most of the stands. But it should be in all the places, all the hotels, and definitely Honolulu bookstores doing
In
it.
the table of contents, you do mention the busing in Hawaii. That's the what you mentioned a while ago that wasn't complete enough, so you wrote this book.
Yes.
And the telephone exchange, that's the prefixes and so forth.
Right.
The language, what's that? What's
Well,
that?
2 pages that tell you how to speak Hawaiian.
Oh, mainly for the tourists and everything. Oh, I see. And then luau's and hula that you were talking about.
Right.
And maps and the weather. What can you say about the weather of Hawaii?
Well, again, I mean, I just use the official government. I mean, it's not my personal opinion. That came direct from the government, and it's their chart, and tells the rainfall. It tells what the average temperature is by month,
and then this covers all the islands, not just Oahu.
Right.
All the islands.
and has all the points of interest of the
Points of
different
interest in
islands,
the various islands.
and the hotels and restaurants in the different islands. And like I say, recipes and
Suggested luau menu I see here. Teriyaki sticks, chicken and gold, lomi lomi, macadamia balls, all of it.
yeah, and the crown of pork has a volcano dressing, which I make sometimes for Thanksgiving. It's flaming.
Oh. Now, for instance, here on the Big Islands, you have the art galleries listed, the Buddhist Temple, Captain Cook Cruise, Catholic Church, the churches, and all these various points of it. City of Refuge, coffee, with explanation of each one,
Right.
what they're all about, fishing, flowers, and so forth. How much, do you have any idea how many books are out now? How many have been sold in either one of these two? Do you get any tally on that?
No, not really. As I say, I don't handle the distribution. I know that the first run sold within 2 weeks. 2,000.
The first run of the bus book?
Yeah. 2,000 sold within 2 weeks. And then they made another run of 5,000, and I don't really know what the count is.
Do you
I understand it's
do you
about
have any
gone.
plans for more books?
Oh, I've already written another book on Hawaiian quilting as an art.
Hawaiian quilting.
Quilting as an art. Mm-hmm.
Do you have a special interest in quilting?
Well, I started taking lessons from this fantastic lady, and she was just so beautiful. And there again, everybody's saying, well, don't you have something in writing? Or, you know, she just knows it, she's beautiful at it and can tell you how to do it, but there just wasn't anything in writing. So we were talking about it, and she said she'd always wanted to write a book, and I said, well, let's do it. We did it within 6 weeks.
What about books of this nature? Are you, later editions, are you going to revise or anything like
Definitely.
that?
Now on the bus book, the bus is always a changing thing, so I'm going to revise that about every 3 months to make sure everything is
Every
really...
3 months you're going to revise it? That's going to keep you busy then, isn't it?
No, it'll only be about 2 pages that I just want to make sure.
Revising.
For example, in August, the bus system put on extra bus at the airport, or now you can go to the airport every 9 minutes. My book says every 15 minutes.
Oh, I see.
But that just happened in August. So the next edition that comes out will say every 9 minutes, but I will check with the bus company, which I did with this. I mean, I sent them to 3 main people. I mean, they saw my draft before it was published. But yes, there'll be a number 1977 edition of Hawaii.
Edition of the hotels and restaurants book, too. Well, Milly, thanks very much for visiting with us, and I'm sure your bus book will make for more happy busing for many, many people.
Well, in particular, we didn't mention the senior citizens. It's very easy for them to get. They have to go to the bus office. It takes about 4 weeks. But another thing, I don't think the tourists realize that, like for people that come for 6 months, they too are allowed to have the free passes.
If they're over 65.
Over 65.
Milly, thanks very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Our guest, Milly Singletary, author of See Oahu via the Bus and Hawaii Hotels, Restaurants, and Fun. And that's Pau Hana Years for today. Until our next program, this is Bob Barker leaving you with this thought. The outside world is like a book of which they who never stir from home read only a page.
That's great.
Try to remember when life was so tender, that dreams were kept beside your pillow.